Hello and welcome to a special edition of Gareth Guitar Tutorials. Today I'm here, I've travelled all the way to Holland to visit my good friend Andre van Berlo. So welcome.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here on my channel. Great to finally meet you in person at last. It's an absolute pleasure to,
After all those Skype calls, it was about time to get to know each other a bit.
So I wanted to sit down and have, while I'm here, a special video for you guys and pick Andre's brain a bit about music and about what he does in general. So I've got your own YouTube channel. Let's make that clear. Yourguitarworkshop.com. You can check you out. And for those guys who haven't checked it out before, one thing you'll notice about Andre's video tutorials is that they're kind of like mine in the sense that you've got close-ups on both hands and you've got tabs running along the screen as you're teaching them. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about what kind of content that you post?
The idea behind it is actually that I try to do anything that I like in the first place. So which means any guitar song or classic guitar song, like whether it's for electric guitar or acoustic guitar. I did Tears in Heaven from Eric Clapton, but then the unplugged version, which I really liked. I do things for the electrical guitar, and I just try to do things that I think are awesome to play on the guitar. And
you also take requests.
Yeah, I do. Actually, the funny thing is actually that some people sometimes have said to me, well, actually you're one of them, that sometimes I do things that are too less known. Like I've done quite a few tutorials on Black Country Communion. The fact that I'm putting them on my channel, the reason why is that I really loved the CD and I was like, oh, these are awesome riffs for electrical guitar players, that is. So I was really keen on letting people know about them. And
a little bit of background about you as well. You're not just, you don't just release videos to YouTube full time. You are like a 20 years experienced guitar teacher. And actually we are sat in the college that you're teaching right now. This is a room that you actually give guitar lessons in.
This is my classroom.
And so not only do you give guitar instructions on videos, that you've got so much experience teaching in the flesh too, and you know how people learn, and so you can kind of identify with people in a learning capacity.
I mean, a lot of ideas that for things, the way I sometimes explain things in the videos comes from real life situations, so things I've encountered in a lesson. Sometimes I make notes while I'm a quick note while I'm doing a real life lesson, or I've explained to someone something in a certain way, like, oh, that was really clear. And I just make a note like to myself, quickly, like this, and then I just try to squeeze it in one of my videos.
There is a difference between me and you so far as how we, our history and how we came about making videos to YouTube. A lot of my subscribers will already know that I was never a guitar teacher to begin with, and it wasn't my full-time career playing the guitar. So our backgrounds are totally different. So I've got pretty much zero theory background knowledge, but you went to
I went to a conservatory, so
what a conservatory is, like a music
you could see that's a university for making music. And there it's, well, the thing is that a lot of important things you have to actually know before you get there. So they will test you on many different things. I mean, normally when you have the right pre-education, like a certificate for high school or something, you can automatically enroll into a certain university. But with the conservatory, it's not like that. So you have to have that. So you have to have a certain ability, a certain like in that sense, but you have to also have a certain playing level. You have to know about theory. You have to have, had already proper ear training and stuff like that.
So how long did you study for? How long were you at the conservatory?
I think I did my for my bachelor's degree. I think it was 5 years, and I think, another 2 for my master's degree.
So we're talking about somebody who, you know, really knows his stuff, and you've also got a lot of experience performance-wise as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not the biggest performer. I mean, there are definitely.
But you've been on stage in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah, definitely.
Part of a large orchestra band, or
yeah,
you've got a lot of that kind of experience, which again I don't have, but Andre does.
Yeah. When you're at the conservatory, when you're studying music, automatically you're going to be in a band or multiple bands, and
it's part of the education. Yeah,
exactly. That's. I mean, it's not necessarily what you learn at the conservatory from the teachers, which is also important, of course, but it's about the network. It's about the other musicians, you know, like-minded people that you meet.
Yeah, being able to bounce ideas off one another and kind of inspire one another.
Actually, you could say that YouTube and internet right now is like the biggest conservatory of them all.
Well, that's a really good analogy. You know, it's you know, people are able to communicate and share ideas and influence.
It's how we met.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, what we wanted to do today, as part of the time that I've got with you, because I am lacking in that fundamental musical theory knowledge, maybe talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
If that's okay with you. So, so how important do you think your musical theory background has, or how important do you think it is to a guitarist that they have a music theory understanding, at least a fundamental understanding? Do you think it's that important?
It really depends in a way. You know, I haven't always been trained. You know, I've not always been. I mean, it's something I built up when I knew that I wanted to go to the conservatory, and that's when I realized, okay, I have to learn all these things. But I was playing before that. Yeah. So, and the funny thing is that I was playing at a certain technical level before I started all the theory. So, and I've never really gone much further than that technical level after that, because it's just the knowledge that you're adding to it. But to come back to the question, I don't think it's really necessary. So I think it's the practice first and theory second.
Because a lot of the people who are learning from YouTube, who are going to be watching this video now, or maybe people who haven't got that background in music theory. So it's interesting to see what you think about this situation. You know.
Yeah. The problem with some people is that they don't have a lot of time. You know, they're having jobs, they're having children, or they're in a school and they have a lot of homework, and then they don't have hours a day where they can spend transcribing songs. And in those cases, it's really helpful to just know a scale, or know a couple of chords, or know that this works over that. Yeah. You know, that little bit of theory, and that saves you like years of practice. You don't have the ear training development, you know, the ear development in that sense, but you are able to do things that you couldn't do before.
So, for somebody who wants to undertake a learning of music theory and they don't have the money to pay for a guitar instructor, and they've only got resources such as YouTube, or let's put it this way, what would be the first things that you teach a new student about theory? What would be the first theory lessons?
Well, again, of course, it depends on what they would like to play. But a situation that I get in a lot is that there is someone who wants to play an improvisation, a solo, and like recently there is this man who wants to play jazz music, but he doesn't really know all the you know, the 7th and 9th chords and 13 chords. He doesn't know any scales. So I said, we can do a bit of theory, but I don't want you to be thinking about everything. So we're going to be doing one scale, and you're going to be learning to use that scale over a bunch of chords. And the most important thing is that you, at any point in time, know what you're doing over which chord. So be conscious about what you're doing, not just, you know, spitting out notes, just doing stuff, and then later on listening back like, maybe that worked, or maybe it didn't. No, be conscious about everything you do. And when you have mastered it, then you take the next step.
Yeah.
And
so because that's something that does kind of, you know, for me, for somebody who doesn't know a lot about theory and scales and things like that, something that's quite intimidating is that, you know, there's so many scales, there's, you know, there's so much to learn. Where do I even start, you know?
Well, actually, it's one of the easiest things is a scale, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because when you don't know a scale and you want to play a solo, that means that any in your mind, any note would be a possibility. So
yes.
You're looking at your fretboard and you're like, well, I can play this one here, but it could be that one as well. It could be this one as well. But you're playing in a certain key, so when you know the scale, you know which notes not to play. So suddenly you can relax a little bit and just play the notes that you know should work.
Yeah.
And then you're very quickly can start thinking in melody lines or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, as a person who's never ever been able to like improvise a solo over any sort of progression, I'm terrible. Like you say, oh, okay, your solo to me, and I'm completely lost. You know, it's a real gap in my.
Well, you have to start somewhere, and it's not normally you don't say like, well, we're playing together, and suddenly it's like without knowing anything, like, okay, now it's your turn. So you have to know up front what you're going to be working with. So what I would do is, for instance, if you have a blues progression in A, and what's, you know, it's all a bit of a cliche, but then you could have the A minor pentatonic scale, like, and then I would say just use the bottom 4 notes and just listen to what they are doing over the chord. So I would just be playing a bit of a groove, and the other person would then just be trying what they're doing, you know, the chord, the notes, what the effect is on the notes over the chord, and then you just build it up from there. But it's not.
Is it okay? So I kind of saw a video somewhere where what people tend to do is they teach licks. So like you learn a certain like 3 or 4 note lick. Is that?
Yeah.
And so what they do is when they're improvising, they've got a utility belt of licks to use.
Yeah, definitely. Licks are what makes it work somehow. I mean, licks is the. Can
we just could you do a couple of demonstrations of what?
Yeah, I mean, a very short lick would be this one. No, it's really simple, but it's a statement.
Yeah.
So when you're playing that, you know it's going to sound good.
Yeah.
Because you've practiced it.
Yeah.
You're feeling confident about it, so you're playing it with confidence.
Yeah.
While when you're playing within a certain scale, you'd be doubtful: is this going to work, or is that going to? And that comes through in the sound of your guitar. So where the scales are the alphabet, the licks are the words. And the phrases are the sentences. So it's really about learning a language.
Yeah.
And usually when you look, I mean, when I play a rock solo, I play so many cliches, really, but they work for some reason, so why not use them?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that they're all words, but each time I play, I arrange them in a different way, so I'm telling a different story.
Yeah.
So that's basically how it works.
That is one of the best analogies that I've ever heard, and there's obviously a good reason why you're a guitar teacher, and in my eyes, you know, in high esteem, because I've been able to get that across to me. It's like you just opened my eyes to how it all fits together. Lifts and exactly. Scales. It's like it's a different language to someone like me who doesn't understand that vocabulary.
The funny thing is, it's the same.
The way you explained it was just like, wow.
But it's the same with finger picking, you know, with the strumming chords. You know, sometimes you've got these little, you know, there's hammer on here, or there's a pull off there, or you just, you know, there's all little things going on. But those are just like those standard things at a certain point that you know that just work, that just embellish what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's the same with licks. So when I'm playing, I use the scales to create a melody.
Yes.
Sometimes I make certain runs to I don't know. I mean, obviously with when it's about rock music, you know, people sometimes you need this like this climax, so you get these fast runs to go to a certain place, but the licks are really there to get the, you know, they make it really sound beefy.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's you know, that's if anybody needed convincing that Andre knows his stuff, I think you've pretty much, for me at least, you know, you've kind of opened my eyes in a way there, where like you're able to describe things in such an easy to understand way, you know, there for me. Whereas you know, I've been trying years to understand this kind of stuff, and it makes me wish that I lived down the road and I could come. So we're definitely going to be doing some more Skyping.
Yeah.
You can teach me, you teach me theory, and you know, you make me a better player. Okay, so is it useful for people who play, say, fingerstyle acoustic guitar? Is it useful for them people to know how to play scales?
Well, actually, yeah. The funny thing is that I get into this situation quite a few times where somebody is interested in playing rhythm guitar only, and I say okay, and then at a certain point I'm like, well, we're going to be doing this scale, and he's like, well, why? I'm into rhythm guitar. I don't want to play solo. I said, you don't have to play solo, but if you are, I mean, for like again rock guitarists, they play riffs, and those notes, you know, you use scales for that, so it's good to know them. And when you're and some people think that if you're just strumming or doing finger picking, you don't need to know them. But the funny thing is, I can give a nice example. Is it can change the way you think about what you're doing. You're going to get a copyright flag for this one, but when Dust in the Wind, you know, from Kansas, when you look at the chord symbols, you've got a C chord, then you get C major 7, then you got C major at 9, back to C, then A minor, then A sus2, then A sus4. But the funny thing is that some of those chords already sound pretty complex to a beginner. Well, to me, I'm just playing C and I'm playing A minor, but there is this melody on top that keeps changing. So I'm not thinking in major 7s or add 9s or whatever.
Right.
The nice thing is that if you know in which key you're playing, then like I'm playing in the key of C, and you know the top notes, you know, on here, when you just play the chord, you can start making the melody like this without even thinking in anything like a major 7 or an add 9 or, you know, add 4 or anything. Because when I would start to analyze the chords like this one, that's add 9, add 11.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, you know, to think about that. But I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking in the melody that goes on top.
So because you know the scale, you know what notes you can add to the chord.
Exactly.
Which will fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes because of that, because you already see the note that you want to play along with it, or you go like this, you know, I want to keep this note on this string.
Yeah.
Then you start, maybe sometimes in some cases you will start to change the chord shape. So let's see if I can make a reasonable. I could be wanting to play this, and I could do like this, but the E string has a different sound than
tonal quality.
Yeah, tonal quality than the B string. So I could also do it like this, and then be more consistent in my melody. Yes. It's not so common practice on a steel string, but it's really common practice on the classical guitar.
Yes. Yes.
And because I've played, I've studied, you know, steel string, classical guitar, jazz guitar, rock guitar. I've done it all, not necessarily to the highest levels, but it made me realize that keeping a melody on a certain string helps to, you know, keep it nice.
Yes, it makes it sound consistent.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the B string is just a bit warmer than the high E string.
And as for songwriting, if you're a fingerstyle player and you want to write your own songs, knowing your scale, you know, if you're playing fingerstyle, like I said, in the C, you know your C scale. You know if you're writing a melody to go with the chord that you're playing.
Yeah.
you know, you can use the notes that are in that scale pretty much as you want to try and formulate a melody as you're songwriting.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when it comes to songwriting, I think the best way to write a song is to have the melody in your head first.
Yeah.
But
write from your heart rather than from
exactly. When you start to write from patterns or anything you know, then the next song is going to sound like the previous one.
Yes.
So maybe not the first couple of times, but after a while you start repeating yourself.
You've only got a certain amount of you know, patterns that
I mean the really creative writers, they actually really come up with new things. I remember an interview of, I think it was Eddie Van Halen, or was his brother? I think it was his brother. He said that Eddie Van Halen, he had no time, he never listened to other people's music. The only thing he would do would just be writing new riffs and licks. He would just sit there all day, just writing new stuff. Yeah,
some people find that easier than other people, and I know from personal experience it's not always easy to like invent a new, you know, because you've got to be a really creative minded person.
Yeah, in that sense sometimes it can help to have a little bit of theory, to have a little bit of knowledge about what goes with what, just to get you going. I mean, it should not be just, I'm not sure if
you shouldn't just always use theory. You should always have that in combination with
you know, I mean, it can be a really good backup plan, you know, when you're normally doing it by ear, but somehow it's not working, you're not finding it, then having a bit of theory can help you go through that in some points. And what's funny is that if you start to know what's happening, then like when you know that a certain scale has a certain sound on a chord, and you have a few possibilities, then suddenly consciously you can choose your sound, instead of that it's like, well, I'm not sure what's happening now, but then you can really choose your emotion, and that's still from the ear, because you already hear it, but then you know which scale goes with that.
I mean, for me it seems important to, you know, if you are a theory-based musician, that it is important not to be too theoretical about things.
Definitely
you need to always listen to you know, play music from inside.
The best musicians, I mean, Tommy Emmanuel is very outspoken about the fact that he can't read notes.
Yes.
And so that's...
In fact, he's like me, he's never had theory training.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not gotten in his way to write great music and play the guitar fantastically. So, I don't think that theory is a necessity, but it can help you. You know, it can, for some. I mean, we're not all blessed with the talent that Tommy Emmanuel has. I mean,
of course not.
I can't imagine how YouTube would look if we're all playing like him. You know.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that backup to just help us get through a certain phase a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's useful information. That's really interesting. So, Andre, on your YouTube videos, do you provide a lot of theory-based videos, or
actually at the moment pretty much none?
No, it's mainly just the requests and the music that you love to.
It's I mean, I've got some theory stuff on my website, so I've got sheets with scales, I've got sheets with chords.
These are all free.
Yeah, that's all free for you can check them out. I think you can do screen grabs. I mean, it's at the moment it's a crappy website, so sorry for that, but it's a crappy web. But I just don't have the time. I mean, I'm having my day job alongside this, so I'm working about 70 hours a week. So, but the website is getting an overall. You know, as you've seen.
You've shown me the previews and stuff. It looks really nice.
But you can, and there are scale exercises there. There are things for arpeggios, so anything you'd like.
Awesome. So it's a great resource for pretty much that I don't provide that, you know, the backing tracks.
Well, not yet.
No. Well, maybe in future once you teach me, I can teach.
Why not?
See, I've got it on video now. You can.
There's no turning back.
I want a Skype lesson every Monday, 7 o'clock.
But I didn't say every Monday, 7 o'clock.
Well, I've just said it. It's on video. A little bit more now about about Andre and his videos. So you started off a bit like me. You started off with a single camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, just filming you describing how to play a song, and that's how I started off making these videos. And you developed your production to a point where now you're producing some of the highest quality videos anywhere on YouTube, and me as a person who knows how much effort that takes, you know, it's you're doing a great service to the community for one, and also can you talk a little bit about, you know, that process, how it was for you, and what brought you to the place you're at?
Well, first of all, I'm like a perfectionist in these kinds of things. I am really a bit of a geek when it comes to software and, you know, checking out cameras. I mean, I've got a couple of great cameras, and still I'm checking tech websites for, you know, what's new and what's coming, and so that's a bit of, you know, I'm really interested in the technical stuff as well, and I like good quality. You know, I mean, I think that because, you know, like people like Justin Sandicoe, I mean, he's put great stuff on the internet. But it's a lot of the old stuff is in 360p, which, I mean, you're still getting the information. But I would like. I mean, sometimes, you know, it's just hard to see. And I mean, it's no disrespect to Justin, because I think he's a fabulous guy and he does really awesome lessons. But it's just a choice that I made, and just to do, you know, the high definition lessons. And it's easier for me, of course, because those lessons that he puts on, you know, there was no high definition yet on YouTube. So don't get me wrong.
It's funny to see how you know, we've both arrived at the same kind of, you know, output, but from completely different backgrounds in music, and completely different, you know, cultures, places. You know, we've both arrived pretty much. You know, if some people say that my lessons are the best on YouTube, now I don't want to get in a conversation about that right here, but obviously they haven't seen your videos. That's it.
No, that's ridiculous.
If you were to take my if you were to ask me who the best tutorial maker is on YouTube, and just like taking me out of the equation, I would say hands down your videos are the best on YouTube.
Thank you.
Just for the not only the layout, but, you know, having gone through a few of them, and I know how difficult it is to get the information across there. It's just like you've described that, you know, you've shown how good you are communicating and how easy you make it, you know, sound. I mean, you really have got a really good gift at. Well, the hardest thing for me was in the beginning was the language, really. I mean, I have a reasonable comprehension of the English language. So your first language is Dutch. Or just, So English is second language to you.
Exactly. But in the beginning, and, you know, when you're and you know this, when you're doing a tutorial in front of a couple of cameras, you're thinking about the audio, you're thinking about the cameras, you're thinking about how am I holding my guitar, you're thinking about what you need to say. So there's so many things going on, and in the beginning, in the first year and a half, just after an hour of recording, I couldn't do anything for the rest of the day because my head was so tired. It was fried.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, like I felt like I was run over by a truck.
Yeah,
really.
You know, there's so many, like spinning plates. You gotta keep everything. You gotta keep on top of everything, because if you fail to notice something, you could waste a whole day of work. Say if the audio's off.
I have wasted so many days of work, really, by just forgetting to press record on one of the, or just forget to record audio, or
because you use 3 cameras now.
Yeah, I do use 3 cameras.
So if one of them isn't recording, you've wasted. You know.
It depends on which one. I mean, I've got one on my face and one for the left hand and one for the right hand. So if it's just the face, then I don't mind. But we can't have a tutorial without the. Well, definitely not without the left hand, but. Not without the right hand as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's such a highly technical, technical thing we do, because we're not just playing the guitar. Like that's what, you know, we're producers of videos. Like we're video producers.
Yeah, we're doing audio production, we're doing video production, we're doing teaching. You know, teaching is a job on its own.
Yeah, there's
and
so much
presenting. You know, I mean, when I look at my first lessons,
hey, don't
get me started.
Let's not talk about first lessons.
Yeah.
It's in my, you know, the little camera on my guitar. I was mumbling, stuttering, and really.
I don't think I've ever seen your first lesson. When I got to know you, I immediately started to see the. I think it's the maybe not Let Her Go. I'm not sure, but. I mean, you were already producing really nice.
Yeah,
videos.
well, I had like a history of like 3 years before that where I was just using the mobile phone to film my videos, and that's what a lot of the.
Is it ridiculous that you actually can do that?
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
No, it's wonderful. Like it is wonderful that you know, anyone, because cameras are so accessible these days, like on mobile devices and things like that. You know, you can just point at, you know, cameras are all over the place now. You can just stick one on, pointing towards yourself.
Yeah.
Describe something.
Yeah.
Upload it to YouTube, and then, you know, you're sharing information like that. That's one of the strengths of the internet.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, this exchange of ideas, media, and all that. It's wonderful. And getting to know like awesome people through the internet, and you know, getting free holidays.
Yeah, there's a bromance going on here.
Free holidays to Holland.
Yeah, exactly.
And things like that. So
as long as you can, you know, convince the wife that it's a business trip, then
well, that's it. That was the hardest part about arranging this trip. Was convincing the wife that it was, you know, this is what I do for a living now.
Yeah. Well, you've got to go back and have something to show for it. What we'll be doing the dishes for the rest of the week.
Yeah, if only it was that easy to do the dishes. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so thank you very much, Andre, for being my special guest today, and shedding some light on some, you know, important concepts, and, you know, filling some gaps in my musical knowledge that you know, that needed, you know, that I need to fill. Oh,
you're welcome. I mean, any time.
Yeah.
Any Monday.
And Mondays, 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
Skype.
Sharp.
Yeah. And so everybody, you should check him out. yourguitarworkshop.com.
Yeah, definitely.
Or youtube.com/yourguitarworkshop.
That's
easy enough.
Yeah.
And Facebook and.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page that's also Your Guitar Workshop, I believe.
All the links for these down in the description. So check out all your awesome free content.
By the way, good to know that because your channel is about acoustic guitar, and anyone checking my channel right now, I just did a special, which is an entire month on Metallica, which is of course all electric guitar. So when you check out my channel, don't be put off by the fact that there is now suddenly like 15 videos only electric guitar. In the future I'll be doing more specials, and a lot of those specials will also be oriented specifically, you know, about the acoustic guitar.
Yeah, you've done lots of acoustic.
Yeah.
I've seen your acoustic guitar lessons. So you know, a few guys who've only got acoustic guitars and not interested in the electric stuff, you know, you provide service for that too. And on your website, do you have like obviously you can access everything from the website. It's a little bit better to find the videos from a website than it is from YouTube, because YouTube usually it's just a stream of. Yeah,
but with me, I've got that you can search on a certain artist, or you can just check a certain category, and it works a bit faster. Especially when the new website goes online, then it's going to be exceptionally.
I'll certainly be looking forward to that, Andre. All those theory lessons that you promised.
You're welcome.
Okay, so thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to check out Andre's channel and get there and subscribe. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.